Live international catch play ball.
He's dropped it! He's dropped it! And he's going to have to go down on one knee! Oh, yes!
Catch. On KY Sports, for coverage you'll really notice. Exciting stuff. Well, here at KYTV there's a brand new look. Out go the old presenters and the old sofas, and in come the old presenters and a completely new set of sofas.
And thank you to all those of you who've written to us here at KYTV. We don't unfortunately have time to open your letters, but we do look at all the postmarks, I assure you.
A reminder that we're still on the lookout for people who can make interesting shadow puppets with their genitals.
That's right, and thanks very much to Edmund Ferris of Leicester for his very convincing Dave Lee Travis.
Yes, the pipe was a masterstroke, yes. Good evening and welcome to the show in which we'll be posing the crucial question, 2000 and whither? How do you think things will be different by the year 2000?
I think people will be friendlier and more open.
You really think so?
I bloody know so.
I'm asking about the year 2000. How do you see people changing?
I was lit off, you know.
Excuse me, madam. What are your expectations of the year 2000?
Oh, I won't be here.
You won't be here.
I should be home by then.
So join us as we look into our crystal ball, conjure up images of life in the year 2000, and see what the future holds. And it's looking pretty good.
Yes, we'll be taking a frank and at times honest look at sex in the next century. A condom that expands and stiffens on its own for men who have trouble achieving erection.
And for the liberated woman, a contraceptive coil that automatically dials you a cab after ejaculation.
And I'll be looking at invisible glass, a new device which looks set to revolution.
But first, an amendment to my KYTV gourmet meal recipe. Some viewers have phoned in about the roast turkey recipe, which I gave out half an hour ago. Apparently, I forgot to mention that the turkey should be cooked. And do remember to heat your oven to 300 degrees Fahrenheit. That's about gas mark 50. Right.
Anna, well, what more appropriate way to start a look forward to the future than by looking back at the past, as we remind ourselves of what man has achieved in the last 1,000 years, with a short documentary put together by the KYTV Education Department.
When the millennium started, there was no such thing as television. Then there was. Many things were done in the millennium, and others weren't. Had Napoleon been around in the 20th century, he'd have been the oldest man ever to have lived. Modern art looks like it. Fashion changed in a way that reflected the fashions of the age. 40s fashion was popular in the 40s, for example, but by the 50s, 40s fashion was out and 50s fashion was in. And now, as we approach the next millennium, people all over the world are more aware than ever that tomorrow is what today was yesterday.
Well, many thanks to our education department for that. And if you'd like a video of that, it's available from Sofa Shop, our comfy dial-a-deal home shopping channel. And it comes absolutely free with this set of storage jars, price £95.
2000 and medicine.
Well, with me now is Dr. Stafford, an expert geneticist and reasonably good gynecologist, who has looked into the future of medical science to see how it will affect our lives. Now, Dr. Stafford, I gather that research is underway to find a way to reverse the aging process.
That's right, yes. And this will mean that most of us will be getting younger, and Cliff Richard will actually start getting older.
Good. Well, how do you see this affecting the death rate?
Oh, well, I expect it to remain steady at 1 per person.
Yes, that wasn't quite what I meant, never mind. Doctor, I gather forensic research has also enabled us to tell more about the causes of death.
Yes, that's right. I have here the bottled last breath of a man in his 60s, and this is very useful in determining exactly what he died from.
And what did he die from?
He died of asphyxiation from having a bottle held over his mouth.
Fascinating. Anna?
Well, a quick note about my gourmet meal recipe. I'm afraid I may have slightly misled you with those cooking temperatures a few minutes ago. Apparently, gas mark 50 is actually the equivalent of 1,000 degrees Fahrenheit and not the 300 that I said. So, apologies to Mrs. Sinton of Norwich, who's no longer able to get close enough to her oven to switch it off. And apologies also to the lady living in Oxfordshire, who up till 2 minutes ago was living in Berkshire. Anyway, let's take a look at some of the ways we think life will change by the year 2000.
With the continued rise of home computers, more and more people will be working from home.
Hello, Dr. Carter. Yes. Well, could you fax me your urine sample?
Alternative energy sources will start to be utilized.
Turn the television on.
Good.
Technological developments with cellular phones means that it will be possible to use them underwater.
Hello?
It will no longer be necessary for criminals to be at the scene of a crime. It will become possible for blind people to drive, with devices in the car that tell them when traffic lights have changed colour.
KYTV, we make the news. You can no longer watch Red Hot Dutch, but you can watch Lukewarm Belgian. KYTV's 24-hour rolling news service.
And a very good morning to you. Nice to have the pleasure of your company. In a moment, I'll be telling you how you can win one of these special Diddy David Birkinshaw sweaters, and then it's sex all the way and every way. The hows, the whens, the problems, those elusive multiple orgasms, and the cast of Emmerdale Farm. They'll be my very special guests in the afternoon part of the program. Each morning there's children's entertainment, especially for adults.
Right, Martin. Get your kicks off.
And Selena Scott presents the No Clothes Show. That's followed by Agatha Christie's Inspector Porno.
May I be of assistance? Then there's our regular business news.
And in Tokyo, the rate is now 960 yen, that's about $10, with an additional 200 yen for the full VIP massage, including hand relief.
Plus, of course, there's Viewers' Wives. And Barbara Simons of Little Grammar School shows what it means to be head mistress. And to round up our day here on Lukewarm Belgium, it's clothes down. So, put your slippers on and slip into someone comfortable and make a date with me, Diddy David Birkinshaw, here on Lukewarm Belgium.
Well, that's just one of the new channels shortly to be available from the new KYTV satellite, which will be launched as the highlights of this programme from our very own KYTV rocket. For safety's sake, the launch pad is miles away from any civilization, situated as it is in the centre of Basingstoke. Well, with me now is Chairman of the British Federation of Inventors, Jason Donovan, who is here to explain just one of the practical benefits of cosmic research.
Yes, the space program has enabled us to develop, amongst other things, this. It's highly sensitive to alterations of heat and weight, and is connected to this servo-controlled cybernetic arm.
Right, and what are the practical applications?
It stops pillows falling out of bed.
Well, if Neil Armstrong were here, I'm sure he'd be saying, that's one small step for man, one less pillow on the floor. Thanks for that, Mr. Donovan. Don't have to rush off.
No?
No.
Something that will be literally commonplace by the year 2000 is this little thing. It's called a dream machine, a machine to record your dreams. And an early model is already on the market at £40,000, although there's shortly to be an Amstrad version retailing at $54.95. Still, with the aid of the more expensive prototype, we can now see a brief extract from the dream of this man, Mr. Ian Bryant of Middlesbrough.
Don't butter that telephone directory. Angela Rippon hasn't abdicated yet.
Sorry.
Hopeless.
I told you it was fourpence.
Ticket.
Dr. Stafford, what can we tell from Mr. Bryant's dream?
Oh, it's absolutely fascinating.
Yes.
And I think it tells us that he's completely mad.
In the year 3000, which we won't live to see, at least our children's children will be watching KYTV.
So, the future. Jason Donovan. Actually, can I ask you... No, never mind. So, when it comes to our everyday lives, what will be different in the year 2000?
Well, the date will be different.
You're watching KYTV.
Lose pounds without losing pounds. With new Speed Slim cuisine. Tasty, succulent meals such as chili con carne, bangers and mash, and roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, but with the guarantee of instant weight loss. How do we do it?
Easy. All reconstructed meat contains elements of bowel tissue, anal scrapings, and intestine. For each of these products.
Pints of your crappy lava. God.
Someone pull your penis.
Now, I believe machines are now able to help you perform operations that you thought might never be possible.
Yes. Now, this latest one helps in the relatively recent science of transplants and morphing. And with this, I've been able to transplant the liver of a monkey into a middle-aged woman, the heart of a baboon into a newborn baby, and the head of a pig onto someone who annoyed me very much when I first met him.
Thank you, Doctor. Now, over here is a machine which by the end of the century should be commonplace in offices, at home, and even in the high street. It's designed to bring psychotherapy to the masses, and we've wired it up to our monitor here. Now, you simply key in your PIN number, and you get 5 minutes of one-on-one consultation. Right, it says condition, I'll put something general, I'll put depression. Okay, and the computer lists a series of causes of depression, so I'll press general. And the computer says, well, I'll press no, obviously. I'll press yes. Okay, I think I'll press exit there. Right. Well, I think we've actually seen enough of that. Let's go over and join Anna.
I've had one or two more phone calls about my gourmet meal recipe. While you can use most types of oil in the salad dressing, I should perhaps have made an exception of Castrol GTX. Apologies to Mrs. Henderson of Broome, who spent all that time draining it out of her car and now can't even start it to take her to hospital. Let's catch up with the developments in Mr. Ian Bryant of Middlesbrough Stream.
Sorry, Ian, but I had to talk to you. You see, we feel you may be the only person who can help us.
Who's we?
I'm afraid I can't tell you. All I can say is that countless lives may depend on it. Shall I?
Yes, thank you.
At the moment, we know that the guards knock off at 6 o'clock every day.
Yes.
And the night guards don't take over until 5 past. That means there's 5 minutes when the gates are unattended. We could get 20, maybe 30 men through completely unleashed.
But what do you want me to do? Better not stop here. We need you to act as a decoy. There's an escape committee meeting tomorrow night. Can you be there?
Yes, I suppose so. Well, I think perhaps we should leave Mr. Bryant there before he starts fantasizing about Michaela Strachan again. Too late.
So, Jason Donovan. Time travel seems to be something that has fascinated generations of children and adults. What exactly is time?
Time future, time present, time past. I've said that now, so it's gone. It's in the past. But at the time, it was in the present. So when we look back at it, it will have been in the future perfect.
It will have been bollocks, I think.
Let me explain the basics of time as simply as possible. Now, when the big hand is on 12 and the little hand's on 1...
Yes, I was rather more thinking of time in relation to quantum mechanics, relativity, the space-time continuum.
Well, time and its concomitant internal quantity can be at variance with the space within which an action takes place, or the impact of the experience of that action relative to the time taken in its pursuit.
So, when the big hand is at the 12 and the little hand is at the 1, that's 1 o'clock, is it?
Yes.
Oh, that's very interesting, thank you.
Excuse me, madam, what technological developments do you expect to see by the year 2000?
Just get out of my f***ing life!
Excuse me, sir. What expectations do you have for the year 2000?
Yes, well, for me, I'm very much hoping for the language of the people.
You're hoping for an international language?
Yes, it's for the speaking. Very most of the people together coming is, but when it is, no one knows. But not they never say no. I very much hoping.
No, just invented one. Excuse me, I was wondering how you thought the world would change in the future.
Well, I'm not sure, in fact, that I care.
No. Excuse me, sir, what changes do you expect to see in the year 2000?
Oh, no. It's you and it was... Oh, what set me up for this? Where's the camera? I've got no idea. You tied me up like a complete chip. You wait till they hear about it. You're brilliant.
Well, I've had another couple of disturbing calls about my gourmet meals. In answer to Mrs. Boxall of Kent, I'm afraid that I thought it was generally known that coq au vin was a dish involving chicken. And I'm afraid that I really can't be held responsible for what happened to your husband. Now, neurology is a science very much of the future, with huge advances already being made every day. Dr. Stafford.
Yes, scientists are already able to analyze people's memories, for example. Now, here, I think we're going to see a printout of Mike Flex's brain patterns.
So, what can we tell from Mike's brain printout?
Yes, well, oh, Mike, now, you'll see the busiest parts show up in red, and what we see here is that your long-term memory is very well developed, but your short-term memory is not quite as active.
Oh, well, I have a quite clear memory of my childhood, that's true, yes. So, what can you tell about my short-term memory?
It's not quite as active. as your long-term memory.
Oh, right, yes. And that's not very good then.
No, as I said before, your long-term memory is very developed.
Oh, right, yes, I remember now. Yes. Because it was quite a long time ago you said that now, wasn't it? Good. Well, thank you very much for that, Doctor. Well, now, let's move on to the question of memory. Now, I believe you've done a printout of my brain showing the difference between the long-term and the short-term.
Let's leave Mike there and take a break.
Doctor, welcome. Thank you for joining us. I believe you've done a printout of my brain.
Tonight's big film on KY Movie Channel ingeniously turns the idea of the Poseidon adventure upside down. It tells the story of a group of people trying to escape from a ship which has been stranded the right way up. The original, starring Dan Cruz, Julia Robards, and Michael Pfeiffer. You see Al Pacino, captain of the HMS Substandard, in the sequel not up to the original 2. KYTV, for movies you won't see anywhere else.
He's tough. He's outside the system, and he's nearly 9. Winterbottom. The new detective series with a difference.
Okay, Sergeant, when was he brought in?
An hour ago.
Let's eat.
Winterbottom. No one could match him.
Just don't know if this is what I should be doing.
Because you've lost touch with the real you.
No, because I got my spelling test coming up next week.
Winterbottom.
This essay simply isn't good enough. Your work is downright poor.
That's all very well, Mr. Wakefield, but where were you last Sunday night around 10 p.m?
Winterbottom. Fearless, ferocious, and 4'4".
2000 in communications.
So, what about sex in the year 2000? Doctor?
That's very kind of you.
No, I meant, will there be any changes on our behaviour?
Oh, I'm sorry, no, I misread the signals.
Hmm.
Yes, I believe there will be much more frankness about sexual matters. The clitoris, for example, will be openly discussed.
But not on this programme. So, will different forms of medicine be available to us?
Yes, I believe they are developing various pharmaceuticals to increase the sensitivity in different parts of the body. So shaking hands will be enough in some people to generate an orgasm.
Certainly give a new meaning to the phrase hand job.
Yes, thank you. What have people enjoyed most on KYTV?
Sport.
Oh, the palace coming from behind against the saints. Magic.
Entertainment.
Magic.
Royal stories.
Oh, the palace.
Religious coverage.
The saints.
And adult movies.
Coming from behind.
It's KYTV.
Let's see now how Mr. Bryant of Middlesbrough's Dream is getting on over at the Dream Machine.
Clairvoyance, prognostication from KYTV, your soothing station.
Well, we're very nearly at an end of our 2000 and Whither programme, so Jason Donovan. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to ask you. Where did you get that tie?
Sock shop, I think.
Yeah, as I thought. So, tell us, how many ideas have you patented to date?
Ooh, over 300.
Over 300 ideas?
Yes, 407.
So over 400 then?
Yes, I suppose so, yeah.
Right, well, let's not get bogged down in calculus, shall we?
No.
Let's have a look at one or two of your inventions. What's this one here?
Ah, well, this is my latest invention, which I'm rather proud of. As you can see, it's a coat hanger, but with this retractable trouser rail, which retracts when you need to hang only a shirt. You see?
I see. Yes, that's very useful. Is it on the market yet?
Not yet, no. I haven't managed to sell that to anyone yet.
Well, early days still.
Yes?
Let's have a look at this one. What's that over there?
Ah, now this is a gadget which conveniently fits over a doorknob, allowing you to open the door using this knob instead.
Yes, Mr. Donovan, why don't we have a look at one of the other ones over here? These, for example, what are they?
Ah, yes, well, now, these are very useful, entirely washable, easy to attach, left and right sock tags.
Yes, that's useful in the sense I've not heard it used before. What's this over here?
Well, you will have heard of sleeping pills. Now, these are waking pills for those of us who have a lot of difficulty getting up in the morning, Mike. Simply keep a bottle like so by your bedside, and when you want to wake up, just take one of these pills.
How do you know when to take them?
Well, you use an alarm clock, obviously.
Mr. Donovan, how many of your inventions have actually been bought by any companies?
Oh, one.
One? Yes. Which is that?
It's an extendable penis.
I'm sorry?
It's a small microchip that you can have inserted into your penis, and which extends the organ with a simple hand clap.
Well, just an ordinary hand clap like...
No.
You've actually...
Yes, I have.
Oh, right.
Yes, so if you could avoid...
Yes, I'm sorry. Well, that is indeed impressive. Thank you very much for being our guest tonight, along with Dr. Stafford. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jason Donovan. This Saturday, only on KYTV, a broadcasting first, we celebrate the anniversary of Bob a Job Week with a whole evening of programmes dedicated to its memory. At 7 o'clock, it's the history of the Woggle, a 2-hour documentary on this fascinating accessory. At 8, a host of celebrities pop in to tell us about the jobs they've done for a bob. At 9, it's what badges did you get? More famous faces discuss how many badges they got and where they stuck them. And finally, at 10:15, Mike Flex talks to former Scoutmaster Sir Peter Scott Robinson.
So in retrospect, Sir Peter, do you think it was a mistake calling your book Scouting for Boys?
This Saturday and only on KYTV. Nothing is more fun.
Well, we told you at the beginning of the show that we'd be launching the new KYTV satellite, but what we didn't tell you, or might in fact, is that we'd be going with it.
Yes, I can't tell you what a thrill this trip is going to be for me. As someone who suffers from both claustrophobia and vertigo. Still, there's nothing like being prepared.
Well, actually, Mike and I have undergone quite extensive training in cramped conditions and with no atmosphere.
Yes, we spent 3 weeks in the centre of Croydon.
Terrific.
But seriously though, Mike, we will be discovering the answer to a number of important questions up there, including the all-important one, What happens to turds in space?
We'll certainly be finding out once you get up there, mate.
T-minus 10 minutes and counting.
Well, on this historic occasion, I'd like to take this opportunity, if I may, to remind viewers about my book of gourmet meal recipes. Price £4.45, and to remind those of you who have it already about my book of gourmet recipe amendments, which comes in 5 volumes, price £18.50.
So, from 2000 and whither, join us tomorrow when we'll be 5,000 miles above the Earth's crust for a very special edition of Gardening with Flex. Less dangerous than crossing the road, apparently.
I think my period started.
Mine has too.